Paul Davis is a grateful human. He loves Reese's peanut butter cups and gummy bears, and something that made him smile recently was seeing his dog Bane feeling worn out after playing with the younger dog. He's a former NBA player, partner at Podium Group. Welcome, Paul, to the Grateful Human podcast.
Thank you for having me. That's my first gratitude this morning is being asked to be on the show.
I love it, man. And sounds like you're probably pretty grateful for your dog Bane, who gave you a smile already today.
You know, I think Mark Twain said it best: the more he gets to know humans, the more he loves his dog. But I think we can all learn from really our dogs, because I think cats they don't really need us, but it's unconditional, love, and always there, always tail wagging, and um, so no, it even though they don't talk, I think there's a lot we can learn from them.
Yeah, man. Unconditional love. Our animals show us unconditional. You've had two really, really tremendous journeys professionally. The first in your basketball career, and now with Podium Group. What are you most grateful for along your journeys that's got you to where you are today?
Um, Through my career, I guess the first half leading up to college went how I had hoped, and the second half, didn't, with 7 different surgeries and going from the NBA to finishing in Europe. Um, but I think biggest thing that helped me and that I was grateful for was, I'm a big believer in the Serenity Prayer, and um, making sure that I did what I needed to do to be prepared for situations, but God helped me understand what I can control, what I couldn't, and how to know the difference. And um, it's a very easy thing to say, but it's a very hard thing to do. And trying to get back to that now in my second career, if you will, just because it's more unknown than I knew what was going to happen every season, and so, um, but even more needed now, just to um, understand that no matter what we're planning, that's not the plan. So thankful thankful for that understanding, and then really just family and friends that knew I was always going to be back. I had to go. I missed a lot of holidays and a lot of birthdays. Um, but it went by quick now looking back on it.
Hmm. For someone who doesn't know everything about Paul, he's a very tall individual. He played basketball at the highest level in the world. Paul, as someone who's very tall, that almost always comes with knee issues and some of those things you talked about, multiple surgeries. But if you look back on the time where you went through those injuries, what are you actually grateful for about the time that you were injured?
Grateful that I could come back and play, even though some teammates and my agent and people weren't quite sure, how or why. But some men and women, they don't have that chance to come back and play. And um, my second to last year, after probably my craziest surgery, we won the European Championship, and so I, I was grateful that I had the ability to dream going through the rehab, because if I was going through rehab and I knew that my career was done, probably would not have been coming out, the other side as well as I did. Um, but yeah, that I wasn't going to let some injury, um, you know, pack up my career and call it. But ultimately, I got 10 years professionally, and I did not want to end the season with, sitting on the bench. But I was out the last couple months, but I probably got a couple more years out of my body than I should have.
Hmm. Playing a sport at the highest level globally is something that at its face value sounds very glamorous to a lot of people. What is a really hard lesson that you're really grateful that you've learned over the course of time that someone might not realize about that?
Um, Achieving your dreams is not all that it's cracked up to be. Um, you know, when I finished my career and I accomplished everything I wanted to do as a child in life, you take the plane ride home, and when you get home, then now what? It's done. You don't get to wake up and put focus time, energy. Your sport is going on without you. There are other guys that are wearing your jersey. And, where do you put all of that adrenaline? Where does your family and what is this new life? And I think military, I think Olympians, athletes, um, and I think even retirees just from business. It's a weird morning, that first morning when you wake up, and so that what that taught me, and what I try to tell younger athletes now is, hey, enjoy the bad days just as much as the good, because a bad day doing what you love is probably better than a so-so day, not doing what you love.
Mhm. We often say on this show that gratitude is like a muscle, and it truly takes effort and strength and flexing your gratitude muscle to be grateful on a bad day, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's and one thing, and luckily I was able to travel the world on someone else's dime, and um, I've got to see many different cultures and sides of cultures, and be in the locker room with guys that had a very different upbringing than I did, and you realize, your worst day is somebody else's dream. And what's the other one? If everybody threw their problems into a pile, you pick yours out pretty quick. And I also try and just think of that every single time that there's something bad going on. It's like, even as bad as this is, or tough as it is in my world, I'm pretty lucky if this is what a bad day is.
Mm. I've never heard the "if everyone threw their problems into a pile"
Yeah,
phrase. That's that's good and probably so true for a lot of people, right? And like, what would it feel like if every day you were truly grateful for the problems that you have?
yeah. I mean, it's just a different angle of thinking about the same thing, and um, it just only way we can do that is by slowing down, and just taking another thought about it, because even I heard a stat the other day: the people that are under the poverty level of income, they're in the 1% of the world, and that's just mind-boggling to think about.
Mhm. Well, you get back from the basketball journey, and you said that there's this, identity conversation going on in your head. Fast forward to today, you're sitting, in a desk in an awesome building in Southfield with a great view as partner of Podium Group. What are you grateful for on this kind of second phase of your professional journey?
Family and friends, were always a constant, but um, I'm really grateful for the new relationships that I've made and built, and have grown post basketball. I was very kind of closed in during my career, and just had the individuals or the people that were closest that um, you know helped me for the next thing, whether it's a game, season. Every Not many other people really added value, and so I was not sure how to um, really relate leaving a sport, and now um, now my network is bigger than ever, but it's even I'm closer to people than I probably ever have been. And the one of the first relationships since leaving basketball, obviously, was with you and Fleece and Thank You, and um, yeah, it's just it's something that I would never be as close or think to spend the time because I had basketball to focus on, and nothing got in the way of that. And so now I'm trying to learn, which is still a foreign, as crazy as it is, a foreign thing of um, it's okay to um, take time away and be viewed as not necessarily a great person in their career, but um, there's other things in life that you can really build your legacy on other than what you do for your job or your career.
Mm. You talked earlier about there's multiple professions and situations where somebody has this transition. You talked about like retiree and an athlete and Olympian, and as you're as you're talking it, like I'm picturing like when you build this identity, it builds this deep crater inside of you, for in a good crater, and when you remove yourself from that void, there's something to be really grateful for about that void, because that void, like you said, allowed you to then fill some of that space and time with things like giving back and family, some of the things that that big crater just had to maybe take some precedent over.
Yeah, and it's there's anxiety with it because we as athletes, what do you I think a lot of athletes go to coaching or media because we don't know what goes on behind closed doors at an office. What do we do day one? What do we do day two? How do we talk about these things that we've never spent time thinking about? And um, none of that really matters. It's truly anybody can get anything anywhere almost at any time. And so ultimately, the differentiator and what's going to keep you in a boardroom once you get through the door is who you are as a person, how you act, and truly what your brand is. We all have a brand, and um, for me, it took a couple of years. I mean, it was you don't know how or where or you know what am I looking for because I did everything right. I I'm not going to love it. You're not going to love anything like your childhood dream. And so I think widening my view of what the opportunity that this can bring, being able to spend time working on Fleece and Thank You, being able to build those relationships back up with, family and friends. Um, and so, no, it's just, again, slowing down and really looking at the big picture and then start planning your own goals, your 3 5 10 year goals. I never planned further than 10 months ahead in my life. It was so it's a weird thing, but you're right, that crater, I mean, it's still not full, and hopefully, God willing, it's never going to be full.
Hmm. um Man, good words. You talked about the relationships that you've had along the way, and that's one of my favorite parts of this gratitude podcast is people learn from people, people buy from people, people need people. What are some of those relationships that have been, a huge source of support for you that you're really grateful for so far?
Again, obviously, family and my relationship with Caitlin and her family. Her father is really almost very similar path to where I'm. He played football at Michigan State and got into insurance, um, and so I think it's uh, being grateful for people that are closest to you, but also even guys, men and women your age that are more your peers, but you're looking at them as mentors in a sense because they've been in business for a while. Um, and it, it might sound arrogant, but it's like, well, when I was playing basketball, unfortunately, there's not too many people that could tell me and help me along or tell me, maybe do this, maybe do that, or think about. But now it's, hey, I need all the help and continue learning I can. And so I think it's also that, like, people taking the time, literally, that there's nothing monetarily of value, but taking the time for lunches, for dinners, for meetings, and just talking. I mean, it's been probably something I haven't really realized, but even my clients, the business owners, a lot of our time once we get done with their planning is just talking about business, and they're taking time away from their day to give to me, and that's what gratitude is, obviously.
Hmm. I dig it. You mentioned a relationship. Caitlin's father was one of those relationships. You had a message for Caitlin's dad about the gratitude you have for being in one of those relationships. What would that sound like?
Um, I appreciate the things that you went through, that you forced yourself to go through, and some that were forced upon you, but to really persevere and to raise four upstanding children, and take time away from still your day now with the dealing with uh, all hours of the night with China, and every Friday him and I are getting together now for a couple hours, and so if he would have quit, or if he would have taken the easy route, maybe I'm not sitting there with him. Maybe Caitlin and I aren't living together, and so for him to persevere through the childhood that he had, um, to just literally never stopping or quitting, even to this day, whether he knew it or not, that's what God had planned for him.
Mhm. There's a lot of characteristics that it takes to excel, be consistent, have success at the level you've had, and some of those were self-made, things that you taught yourself and worked yourself, and others are maybe the way you were wired or the way you were raised. If you talk about the way you were wired or raised, what are you really grateful for about the personality characteristics that you have and where they came from?
I'm very much like my father in a lot of ways. We're just very humble, and never looking to what can I gain from a interaction, but what can I give, and then the business savvy, I get from my mother, and I think just a good hearted person, I get from my sister, and um, I appreciate now. I didn't appreciate it then. Um, my parents saying, no, you can't go to that party, or you can't go to that friend's house, because um, it was the discipline around basketball. It's You got to choose one or the other, and I didn't think that they were the cool parents back then, and they didn't really care. But looking back now, if they would have allowed me to go do what I thought I needed or wanted, again, we're not sitting here. So um, they didn't know how to deal with the everything that came with raising a top player going to college, but they did know how to live life and treat people and work hard, and that's what they imparted, and then I just figured out the rest.
Mm. If mom and dad listen to this, what's a message of gratitude that you'd say to them?
For not for not letting me, um, for not knowing anything about basketball, but my dad back then you had to buy VHS tapes. There was no YouTube. He was a football player, and um, I think it was a uh, big thing for them. But um, they spent $4 grand to put a slab of concrete and a basketball hoop in the backyard, and they didn't know. At the time it was a lot to just say allocate for that, and they said if it gets them a scholarship, it'll pay for itself, and um, you know, kind of believing in me, even though they didn't know what the next uh, day was going to bring, and then my sister for just being there every single time, and not really in a shadow, but just extremely happy to be supporting her brother, and thankful now that I can return that favor now that I'm back.
Mm. Uh, Paul's sister, Sarah Davis. I got to make sure I also send a message of gratitude to Sarah Davis, an amazing teacher at McGregor Elementary in Rochester. Sarah, if you listen to this, you're an amazing human, and I'm very grateful for all you've done for Fleece and thank you, and for all you do every day to mold young minds in Rochester, Michigan. So thank you very much, Sarah.
Yeah, she was put on this earth for doing exactly what she's doing right now.
Yeah, she's awesome. Um, so I ask everyone on this show this question, Paul. Why is gratitude so powerful? What's your response?
Um, you are putting someone else before yourself, and I think that does two things. That trains your gratitude muscle, but it also shows somebody else um, what they mean or what they've done to impact your life. And when that happens, that's one less time something bad can come out, or the news can, you know, show some, you know, evil thing. And so the more that there's gratitude, that means that there's less air for the negative things that seem to be getting all the attention these days. But at the end of the day, if you look at the likes, if you believe in likes or the hearts, whatever on social media, you know those charitable or giving videos, pictures, messages always have 10x, the likes, and good is always going to win over evil. And even though sometimes it doesn't seem that way, but that's just because the media is the media has their own evil plans, but people are the only things that can make gratitude happen. And I think this show is one of them. And that was a long-winded answer, but it just you show somebody else what they mean to you, and you're training your gratitude muscle as well.
I love it, man. We're both big time. We love to move. We love to move fast, and we probably both are at fault of not taking enough time to celebrate often enough. So I want to take a moment just to tell you that I'm very grateful for everything you've done for Fleece and thank you, your heart for serving kids, and I'm grateful for the time we've had, and I'm grateful for hopefully a lot more time to come serving kids. So thanks for everything, and thanks for taking some time to talk to us about gratitude today.
Anytime. I'm grateful that I don't know how it happened, but somebody reached out 3 months into me being back, and it was literally the type of nonprofit I was looking to get involved with. So we'll chalk that one up to God, and just say that the fun is yet to be started. So appreciate what you do every day, and I don't think that gets enough attention. But I think we both like it that way.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks for today, Paul. Everyone, Paul Davis is truly a grateful human, and he loves Reese's peanut butter cups and gummy bears. Thanks for spending time with us, Paul, and everyone. We will talk to you next time.